All right, we're live now, guys. So after a slight blunder on my end, and I guess my guest did too, we had some weird time zone thing. I thought it was 3 hours for some reason, and it was two. And so I was sitting around like, oh well, maybe they slept in from a hard, long show and just got real tired or something. But we're here, guys. I'm glad to have you on. I'm glad this is actually going to work out today. But for those that don't know who you are, you're insides from Texas. I can't remember what city in Texas, but you're from Texas, which I love Texas. I lived there for about a year. Denton and Plano myself. Pretty hot state though. It's too hot for me. But besides that, awesome fishing and everything like that. But I'm thrilled you guys are here. Besides being a little worse for wear and lacking sleep, how are you doing?
We're glad to be here, man. It's not very often we all get in the same room together, so we're just having a good time regardless. But yeah, we're glad to be here and glad you invited us to do the interview on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty cool.
Hopefully you guys didn't get jerked out of sleep too roughly. Heard you're snoozing a bit.
I think we were all right.
Yeah.
I think we got everybody blacked out in bed at least by one.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's have some fun. I guess I'd just like to start this by just having you guys introduce your roles and who you are in the band, I guess, and then kind of doing some backstory of Insides, kind of covering the way the band came to life, I guess, how you know each other, some of the basic things, and then from there we'll cover other things that are going to be fun, exciting. So I'll hand it over to you guys and let you handle that.
I'm Kenneth. I'm the drummer. I'll let Casey actually introduce the band as to how we formed.
I'm Casey, the vocalist.
I'm Michael, the guitarist.
And I'm Jordan, the other guitarist.
And our bass player decided he did not want to be a part of this and left last night.
That's all good. There's got to be one, but hey, look, we love you, buddy. It's all right. It's all good. We'll give you some love.
Love you, Chad.
Love you, Chad.
But hey, awesome. I'm glad to get that covered, and it's something I'd like to say about you guys just off the bat before we cover the origins of the band is there's a lot of dynamic in the songs that I've heard, and I feel like there's a good amount of difference between them. And I have a hard time kind of nailing down kind of where the influences come from. I keep thinking of Korn in some spots of the songs, and maybe that's one of them. But it's kind of a bit of a first time for me to not be able to kind of hone in on where the influence comes from, because there is metalcore there. There's some, I don't know if you guys like the term new metal, but I feel like there's a bit of that influence there, like the groove from the early 2000s new metal.
Yeah,
but it's great stuff.
Yeah, we all very heavily from different musical backgrounds, and the cool part about it is none of us have preferences which way or the other, so we all like toss in a little bit of spice for each one of us to be satisfied with the music that we're writing.
And we don't know how the spaghetti's going to taste on Friday, but we try every season and just make sure it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not going to say it's not corny. There are definitely some corny influences. You're corny.
Yeah,
some parts of the song, especially and I've heard that back and forth a couple things, like, oh, that reminds me of Korn. I was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
and it's be that way, but
yeah, it's parts of Burn and it's parts of Eye for an Eye that make me think of Korn. Like there's the bass groove in Eye for an Eye that kind of makes me think of Korn, and then there's the way that you do the vocals in Burn a bit when you're not doing the growly stuff, and I'm like, that kind of makes me think of Jonathan Davis a little bit and how he would kind of deliver that kind of line, But let's talk about how Insides even became a band. How did that start happen for you?
So originally, three of us were in a band called Vanity, before.
Okay.
And Vandy kind of took its part in making us move around and kind of organize how we rehearse. And it was just a big step maker for a lot of us in the way we continued to work together. Following that, I had a kid. I stepped out for a little bit and started working on home stuff, of course. Michael started working in the studio, working on mass production side and trying to make things work on that.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up starting another band called Countermeasure. Yeah, I was trying to get that wrong. And Countermeasures put out a single and a video and did some stuff, and that's where Kenneth and Jordan kind of come into the mix, because following that, when I had the idea for Insides and when we were going to continue to start it, we wanted to see what other options we had as far as players. And Mike knowing these guys came in, killed it. Everything's been moldable. Everything's been an original piece given by each individual person. And collectively, it all came together. And so far, we're 5 years now? Yeah, almost 5 years now.
Nice.
The same madness. We love
it. Well, I that backgrounds and like what you guys are into that you said earlier, Ken, is you hear it in the songs. You know, you guys are into different things, and it kind of seems like when you guys are writing, what you just said is something that really works in your favor. But when the band was starting to actually come to form, how I have the question written out was it a pre-thought out thing for the sound, or how I think it actually is you let that kind of come into view and form on its own, so it's not a forced kind of thing.
Well,
because like I said, go ahead.
Specifically the music always gets created first.
Mm-hmm.
And then following that, I really like that method, because I think you can't design an energetic sentence or an energetic observational tool in vocals without having that moment, that idea, and that spur of energy. So the writing process definitely comes from how much energy the songs create for themselves, so that way we can bring a different level to it. Widely and unknown about Insides is because of the differences in such musical backgrounds and everything else, our warm-up songs a One Republic song before we go on stage. We sit in the car, we do that every time, and it's like a 6-minute vocal warm-up, but like nobody would expect that.
I wouldn't.
Just two guys singing Ryan Tedder in a car screaming. But yeah, no, it's a wide influence on a lot of things. The music itself is hard to nail down because of that, but I think we interpreted taking what we had and making something new out of it. And I think that definitely is starting to show a little bit more in the original side of the music.
And if you think the 3 that we've already got out are different, wait till we release the 2 ballads.
Yeah, we actually have 2 ballads.
Really?
Yeah, anybody who's seen us live has
really
seen
cool.
them and they love them. But
real quick about the ballads, if I could say, is when a metal band writes a ballad, I think it's badass, because most metal bands, not all of them, but most of them, typically it's a heavy ballad, right? You got those kind of softer melodic parts in there, but then you still hit somebody with something that's like pummeling in the ballad, and you're like, this is supposed to be a ballad. Why am I wanting to mosh right now? You know?
Well, we do try to still sneak a little bit of the metalcore background in there too, because we got some breakdowns and some the guys really hated it because in one ballad specifically it builds up to an extra in the song, and they hated it at first, because I was like, you know what, if we're gonna build to something right here, I'm gonna build, and I just got the most insane double kick going on during it. And sounding like freaking machine gun going off in the middle of a ballad. Yeah, it's like a minute and a half straight of double kick. And at first they were against it for the first time I played it live, and they got to see like everybody was like, "What the hell just happened?" And now they're like, "All right, yeah, we have to do that."
Let Kent cook, guys.
Cool ballad and still mix in a lot of heavy influence.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear those ballads. That's really freaking cool, man. It's not typical for a ballad to be done that way, and that's why it's cool to me. I want to hear that machine gun double kick. That's going to be awesome. Thumping in my car, driving up to work. I like to do. I did it with your 3 songs that you already have out, by the way. And I always have this one guy that wants to come up and ask who I'm listening to. I think Burn was playing when I pulled in because the 3 songs combined just about the length of my drive to work. And so I pull in and I just park it around the spot, and I just have it almost maxed out in my little Ford Focus that I drive, and it's like crackling a little bit and it's rattling my windows. And now the corner of my eye, I see this. He's a big, can't remember his name. I think it was Kevin or something like that. But he comes and he taps on my window. He goes, "That is some really sick shit. Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh, this is a band that I just started listening to probably a week or 2 ago. They're called Insides." He goes, "Man, it makes me think of like some kind of weird version of Mudvayne getting in a fight with like Korn or Godsmack or something." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." He's like, he's like, "Do they have an album?" I'm like, "Oh, 3 songs." He's like, "Cool." He goes, that's good enough for me." And so he wanted me to give you guys some props because I told him I was going to be interviewing you, and he wanted to say, "Hey, you're badass." So
We appreciate it.
Yeah, sin and love, man, for sure.
Yeah, but that's exciting. I can't wait to hear those 2 ballads. Is there a timetable of when they might be out so I could kind of mark it down for myself?
I'm hoping more like December. Everything should be wrapped up
Okay.
and ready to go by then. Right time of the year.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
speaking of putting all this stuff out, this guy right here is the absolute madman behind the curtain, the wizard himself. Everything we do and the reason everything's so delayed on our end of releasing our music, so we're doing it all completely in-house. Everything we do is this guy right here.
Production to master.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Outside of our normal lives and working and everything, he's doing that on all of his free time, is making sure that we have our best sound to put out.
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job. And just so you know, I think it's completely fine taking your time to get the music out there, because at least for me, I could tell when something seems or sounds rushed and thrown together, and nothing I've heard so far has any element of any of that. And that's something I could appreciate. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
As much as we love to
guys,
get music out every week, it'll eventually get possible.
We're pretty much there.
We're pretty close.
It's just more of like the free time aspect of it.
Yeah, so we all do work normal lives.
Outside of this, I have a bar, and then we've got like the band going on.
We have kids.
We've got a project that we're like starting to have an idea of building as far as like music production goes, and like trying to open the studio, stuff like that, trying to get other bands in there and kind of help them along the same path as we are, kind of show them that like it's possible to be able to do this in any range. So
Create a
Yeah, I
safe
mean,
place.
safe place. I mean, that is a plus. But this day and age, though, having a band at all is hard, especially when you're kind of in-house and doing it DIY kind of style. It's a lot more challenging, like a lot more challenging. And I hear that from any band I've had on that is doing it the way that you guys are, just yourselves producing it, mixing and all that stuff, distribution and things. It's a lot of work. So that's something I can also really respect about you guys doing it that way. Because personally, not all of them, but a lot of the big labels, they don't really cut a fair deal with the bands, and they don't really do a lot of fairness with the bands. So independent, that's where I would go to, just completely myself. I want to dive into, though, a little deeper into the individual influences of you guys, because you've been mentioning that. The One Republic thing I did not see coming. So as a whole, though, what other things can you say Insides collectively pulls from that goes into like a creative thing or like a live setting, even like what things collectively make that actually happen?
You want to start with Jordan, work our way around?
A lot of my influences came from bands like System of a Down. That's my favorite band of all time. And stuff like System of a Down, a lot of stuff with like Knocked Loose and heavier bands and shit like that. That's just all the stuff I listen to, and with live performances, I try to like get out there and interact with the crowd a lot. Anytime you see us live, I'll always probably be out in the crowd at some point, doing something, trying to get people to interact a lot. And that's like my favorite part of performing live is like getting out there and interacting with people. And that's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Linkin Park first and foremost, because that's just been my main day one go-to since I was a child. They have just carried on with me. Yeah, see, heck yeah, dude. They just continued on like every aspect of my life. They just nailed every part of it. But I mean, outside of that, I have a lot more like, you know, metalcore, new metal, a lot of new metal for sure. Yeah, that's really it on my end.
Yeah.
I guess where it started, it was right when CD-ROM was coming out. And I noticed that my dad would have a few in the house, and they were the wildest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Like the Rob Zombie Dracula album, like Linkin Park and Seven Dust, and all these cool bands. I mean, that's where it grabbed me officially. And then I stepped out and started doing like love songs and acoustic music and did that for years until I remember, this is going to sound crazy, I remember taking ecstasy with my friends. We were like, do you know who Asking Alexandria is? And I was like, no. So we sat in the car for like 4 hours, just blurred, listening to them, Memphis Mayfire,
Dream On.
And I was stuck, man. I was like, there is nothing quite like this energy. And then to go perform it afterwards, like, yeah, no, you can't replace this. No. You can't replace this at all.
Your turn, Kent.
So mine, Dream Theater, 100%. I grew up. My dad was a metal guy. Been following Dream Theater since they were Majesty in the 80s, early 80s. And so I grew up listening to Dream Theater, going to their concerts and everything. Mike Portnoy is a god to me.
Daddy.
Yeah, wish he was my daddy. Max, you lucky bastard. No. And, you know, as I started playing music and everything I tried to learn how to do and model my drumming was after Mike Portnoy. From the way that he interacts with crowds, the way he puts on performances, how he'll be the first one to tell you, you know, that's a band that you go to see play, and he'll like, dude, I will not play what I wrote. I've improv everything on stage, and it's so cool to go see because you're expecting, if you know 3 hours worth of their music and you go to watch 3 hours of their music, you're not going to hear 3 hours of their music. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this the whole time? But it still sounds good. And so it's really cool to see that he can just make stuff up on the spot, play things differently. And so I write drum parts a certain way for an album, and then I will write parts for the way that I play them live. So it's always really interesting to do that. But I really take most of my influences from them, and then I have a deep metalcore background too. Like, got into early Motionless in White, and then Architects when they came along, and and
Johnny Booth.
Yeah. So going around and coming from a concert background before I ever started playing music, I like to see how everyone else did it, and like Seven Dust with Morgan Rose and how he plays.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Luke Holland with Stick Tricks and stuff, and I just sprinkle a little bit in from all of these bands that I liked and put that into my live performance to like make it a show, not just aesthetically pleasing to the ears, but to the eyes as well. You know, we like people to enjoy watching us as much as they enjoy listening to us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And just I want to comment, the System of a Down how sick of you are of waiting for new music from them?
Oh,
Since
dude,
that
it makes me ill every single day.
Yeah.
It's I think back in their last they released like 2 songs out of nowhere. I think in like 2020 or 2021.
Yeah,
with,
I
like,
think
the
so.
Band, and then I forgot the other one, but fuck, man, it's really sad. I don't think they're ever gonna make more music ever again, which is really sad. But what they did put out is amazing. Like, there's not one System of a Down song that I don't enjoy, so it's kind of like bittersweet because I don't think they're ever gonna. Well, I don't think they're ever gonna make music again. Everything that they put out has been fucking amazing, and like Darren is doing his stuff with Scars on Broadway, which is also an amazing band, and then Chavo, their bassist, is doing stuff with
7 Hours After Violet, right?
He got a new band called 7 Hours After Violet, which is fucking amazing as well. So all their solo projects are also fucking. They're all just very talented musicians. While System of a Down isn't going to do anything ever again, they all have their solo stuff, which is really cool too. So
yeah, they're great musicians too. I've always respected them a lot. But that's some great influence you guys have there. And excuse my kid walking through the background; he does that quite a bit. Yeah. I'm not surprised to hear the Linkin Park and mentions of Seven Dust and Dream Theater. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. You being such a big fan of Mike, he is pretty freaking awesome, man. I gotta agree with you there. He blows my mind when I see him play, and thank God he came back to Dream Theater too.
Absolutely, I love Mike Mangini, but he's not Portnoy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He is great in his own right, but Mike just has a way, dude. He has a way with that music. So the next thing I have here is I kind of want to cover one at a time the 3 songs. And first, obviously, Quarantine, because as far as I can see, that's the song that you guys put out, and I don't see anything before it. And if there is, I haven't found it. But that one, I think, is probably, in my opinion, the most metalcore forward song you guys have. But it still does have some surprises in there that make the song stand out and make it memorable. But overall, what was Quarantine inspired by? And I feel like it's in the title, that time that it was put out. Go ahead.
Quarantine was it was like the break between what Countermeasures was straight into Insides. I had recorded that song through the guitar. That was after Celestial from Countermeasures, which is a wild video. If you want to check that out, that thing's crazy.
I will.
But we made that song. I recorded Quarantine. I did the vocals myself. This was Casey still had a band going on. This was just right before we were heading in the direction of Insides. And that song was just kind of laying around, and we were like, all right, we're going to form Insides now. And we're going to put something out so that somebody had some kind of reference. They could put us into a genre fit. So we kind of threw it that way. We're like, well, screw it. Let's just put it out. So Quarantine was the transition between the other bands into what Insides is. And then the other songs are the ones that we collectively wrote together.
Well, it's a solid song, man. That's pretty interesting about it. I want to say, though, when I first saw it and I first heard it, I thought my initial thought was, so 2022, I think, was the release, says on here on my iTunes for that song. But either way, I thought of when COVID was going on. And then I also thought, well, maybe it's just a general statement about feeling isolated or confined, And so it's been a song that I'll listen to if I'm feeling like stuck in my head and like confined in like a certain like mood and I'm trying to break out of it. And that song kind of helps me get that out of my system. It's a nice release. I kind of get a good rage in the car when I'm driving, and just it helps even things out for me. But it's a solid track, guys. I hope there's going to be more like it in the future. Obviously different, because things that are too the same, how that could blend together, but I don't think I have that to worry about with you guys. You've proven that with 3 songs already. But it's a solid song. It's one that I send to people first when I was, talking about interviewing you guys. I said start with Quarantine because it's the first song that I know from you guys, and so far most of the people that I've talked to said it's a great song too. So you guys have that going for you. And next,
I want to play that one live.
Yeah. Do you have live footage at all of like anything?
We played that one live.
Probably twice.
Yeah, we played it twice. And we just it was just like that transition. Like I said, we started with that song, we loved that song, and then we started writing other songs. And we started focusing more on that stuff, and so it just kind of got lost in translation. But we'll have to definitely bring that one back.
Yeah, definitely do that. And then what about Burn? What's the story behind that track? It's probably my second favorite from you guys.
Yeah, Burn's a fun one.
So Burn
was a different writing style that we tried. It was a different technique that we were doing. We started influencing different aspects into the songs and how we were going to write that, and that just kind of it started story building itself. Honestly, like it started with the it's me, son, she. We're like, that's cool. What else can we do to that? We started building on top of that, like 2 loops in, and then it just started making its own thing. Like when we started writing that song, it kind of wrote itself. Like it just was like, hey, we got I want to be out here.
I'm not saying we were trying to progress it as fast as we ended up progressing it, but very much so. Not just that song, but the 4 songs following it. Sit down, knocked out all the songs in a week. Wrote the formats for it.
The vocals were the hardest part of that song.
Yeah.
What about the vocals were hard?
Just the structuring, trying to figure out what bit,
where
what
to hit it, where to not hit it.
Yeah. And then just coming through. I think that song, it took just a couple of days just to get the vocals all the way through, and then it took another 2 weeks. Just to be able.
Sorry, my kids in my ear.
I want that there. I want that there. And so it just kind of put that song like that. The heavier parts came out honestly.
So one thing we haven't touched on is the way that we write. So while we all live in Texas, none of us live in the same city except for them 2 now. They're in Austin. The other 3 of us are all spread out throughout the rest of the state, and so we don't get very much rehearsal time, or when we do write music, we're not really ever face to face. So our writing process starts out with an idea. Mike will have an idea with a guitar riff or something. He'll send it out to all of us, and then I'll sit at my house with my drum kit and I'll record something to it, send it back. Hey man, tell me what you think. Tell me if we need to change this or change that. And so our writing process is a lot of everyone gets a little bit of input, throwing some stuff on it, without having that face-to-face time. And
it gets to saturate.
Surprisingly, that's been working really well. And said adding the different aspects of everybody's musical backgrounds, because you'll hear when that initial guitar track gets sent out, you'll hear 5 tracks or 4 tracks come back with another rhythm on it, a rhythm guitar on it, or a lead over it, or a bass line over it, and drums over it. And you go, okay, well, if I put this with this, that's going to sound great. If I put this with this, and then we kind of just start getting that ball rolling.
Organization.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get 2 or 3 songs out of doing it like that.
And so it's really awesome, because at first we were all like, man, this is going to affect it within a week or 2 weeks. You've got a guitar riff.
Because when you're at practice, like intimately, that's really nice to have. But if you can separate that hour that you're going to spend with each other each week, and you can put it in each other's lives at individual moments,
right,
that allows them to think about what they want to do and how we want to create that process. I just found that just has worked so much better for us.
That's interesting, because a lot of bands I've talked to so far, they said that if they could, like if they weren't spread out like you guys are spread out, and they could be together when they're writing, that they'd prefer being together in the same space to write. So it's interesting to hear, at least for you, that you like it being basically having your individual time to think on it, like work it out yourself for your part, kind of think about other parts. I think you're probably the first to say that it's working that way and you love it that way versus
I'll explain a little bit deeper into that. If you know anything about it, nobody likes paying for studio time. And to get everybody together in a writing process, you're crammed and rushed in that hour to possessively come up with something that's going to make something worth it. In this process, there is absolutely no rush at all. So when somebody gets something and somebody has an idea, we have enough time frame and enough chemistry, I guess, all the way through it to parent each other on each subject that we could help each other with. And I think ultimately we get the best ideas and the best sound out of that. Versus trying to cram it in a studio with us, like, oh, we got to write. Like,
yeah,
we got time.
Because then you kind of, didn't you rush? And then if you are rushed and you're like, oh man, because it's happened to me where I'm like, dude, I forgot to record my lead parts on one of the songs.
Yeah.
We just spent $5,000.
That's it. That's your product after that. And then, at this point, you can go and do something like he'll play a drum track or I'll play a guitar track, and then I'll sit there and think, like, you know what? I didn't really like that. And I'll have a couple of days to think about it. I didn't really like how I did that. I'm gonna go change that. And then just kind of put it all back together. And it's just kind of putting it into your daily life when you can fit it in is a lot better than trying to cram it in to 1 week.
Can't make the world spin.
And a great example of that is Eye for an Eye. We had that song written a year and a half ago, recorded and everything, and then all of us collectively were like,
what else can we do?
That's really not what we were expecting to have out of that song. We need to tweak a couple things. Casey ended up changing a couple of the vocal lines in there to fit a little bit better, and then finally, this is something we want to put out now. Yeah. And if we had a different process to write, if we wouldn't have done that, so Eye for an Eye would have ended up being a song we really weren't proud of.
No, that's good, to take a minute and say, hold on, when, like you've been saying, hey, don't push the mouse, being rushed and like having like a certain amount of time to get things written, you wouldn't have had that luxury of saying, wait, let's not release this version of this song. Let's go back. Let's look at it again because we can do better. That's awesome. Like, I love that you do that and you don't just settle.
I think a lot of that comes from settling.
Yeah,
we've all settled a lot in the past.
A lot of that comes from that.
And on the other hand of it, you got to know when it's time. Because otherwise, you'll sit there and go, no. And then you just got to sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, that's all right. We're good. We can roll with that.
I mean, a song will never be done if you just keep going back to it. So it eventually comes to a point you're like, all right, this is good. This is worth it. This is doable.
Yeah, I hear that a lot too, to tell you the truth. That if you kept going back, it would never be done. It's like, well, what if I do this though? And then you go and do that, and then 10 other edits follow after that, and then 10 other edits follow after that. So let's dig deeper into Eye for an Eye now, because that's the most recent and my personal favorite. Let me hold on a second. Let me open my kid's. He wants a candy bar.
What's up, dude?
He does. I could be cleaning the house. I could be in the bathroom. If he wants something, he brings it and says, "You gotta do this now."
Just give him.
Yeah, snap. But Eye for an Eye though, that's an awesome song, guys. Like, it's got, to me, the best dynamics out of the three, and the best production and the best sound. I can't say enough good things about that song. Like, I'm watched in my front room with my kid the other weekend to it, and he thought it was hilarious. He was jumping on his trampoline and then jumping at me when I had that song blaring on my speakers. But let's dig into a bit of the process for that song, like more.
Yeah, so the reason that one sounds the most polished is because that was kind of like I'd been studying how to do the production side of it for like the last 5 years, and to me that was just like my final like, all right, we got this. And then just the arrangement of the song, that one was a group effort. We all kind of had a big pitch into that one to say, this is how I like this. This is how I like that. I think we should go with this. So that one was just a definite collective of everyone's input, and I think that's more importantly is why.
Yeah. And if you look back through the earlier releases, you can tell how you can hear the progression and how we're coming to Eye for an Eye, and then hopefully with a few of our new releases that we have planned out for the end of the year and beginning of next year, simpler, and every time everything works a little bit better. And so hopefully, if Eye for an Eye is more of a polished product than anything we put out previously, then our next releases will continue to follow that trend.
That's only a positive in my book. You can always improve. I was surprised though when I didn't ask you guys when we were getting to the interview if there's music videos, but the first thing I thought when I heard Eye for an Eye is like, oh, I bet you the music video for this is cool, but I didn't find one.
Unfortunately, we've been wanting to do a music video for that song for a while, but we all found ourselves just super busy in our personal lives. Yeah. We weren't playing shows. We weren't able to get.
I'm still down.
We weren't able to get together, and then, we were just kind of like, just sitting here, like, dude, we got to do something. Everyone's just gonna forget about us. Everyone's gonna forget So we were sitting on Eye for an Eye for a good 6 months as a done product, waiting to try to get a music video done for it.
I think we're going to. I feel like that one. There's one more that's gonna be coming out.
I think the guy we've chose to do it though is on a 60-day tour right now. And more or less, I'm kind of just waiting on him to get back to sit down and discuss what we can do as far as making that a real life opportunity.
Yeah. That means
so you're saying there's a chance.
Actually, should be back this next month. So
it's coming. It'll happen.
He's on tour with the drummer and bassist for Paramore.
Yeah. So he'll be back after that.
Yeah, he's Paxton Connors is a good friend of ours, and he the bassist and the drummer for Paramore have like other projects, and he's out with them doing their videos and photography and stuff right now.
That's pretty thick.
Yeah,
he's the only one I want to do
it. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
So we'll see.
So I have to look forward to.
If we could have it our way, we'd probably have a video release and a new single release before the end of the year.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you have to if the timing doesn't feel right at the same time.
Yep, you're right.
It's a game. You just got to figure out how to play it sometimes.
Yeah, that's for sure. I want to touch on the tour that you guys did last night. In Canyon, Texas, you had Breaking Solace on there, Labor 12. And if I have to be honest, I forgot the handful of other bands that were on the bill as well. But overall, how did that go down for you guys?
It was amazing, dude. Check out 70, by the way.
Yeah,
those guys are fucking crazy.
Divided Me.
Shit,
she kills it.
That whole entire experience was fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, from start to finish.
And everybody was so fucking nice.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, half the people that didn't even know we're playing were coming up to me like, man, I've been waiting for you guys to come on. I've been thinking about it all day. Just wanted to like fucking high five you and send your way. And then we'd get done, and they go up and be like, "Holy fuck, I should have smacked hands harder." Like,
Yeah.
but no, it very much welcoming. SLB Productions, very welcoming group of people, man. The guys who run that Rockwell Center, very welcoming group of people. We've been blessed with pretty cool communication and situations with everybody down here in Amarillo. And I don't know if we're going to continue to keep coming back and forth to Amarillo, but we definitely like this spot.
As much as we can.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice to hear when
32 hours
something
less.
just goes down almost like surreal way, or like, is this really going as well as it is? Are we going to have a Spinal Tap moment or some kind of weird like technical thing happen that just kind of makes this go down in flames? But it went awesome, and that's great. I have to ask you though, did any of the guys in Labor 12 happen to talk to you?
I talked to all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Good, because
Really
I
bad.
love those guys. They're good friends of mine, and I was stoked to have you guys play with them because they're awesome people.
So I actually made a comment to Mike during their set last night, and I was like, dude, if I close my eyes right now, I swear I'm listening to Static X. And then their singer had a Static X shirt on. Look over to their merch booth, and they've got Wayne Static merch memorabilia for him.
Yep.
And
I have
go
one
to
of
talk to I go to talk to him after the set. And I'm like, man, y'all set just took me back to like 2008, sitting at Dos Amigos in Odessa, Texas, watching Wayne Static play. And they're like, dude, we played that show. We opened the show. I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
But those guys are great. They had an amazing sound, and it was incredible.
Yeah, I have that shirt that you're talking about, by the way. Of there's a Wayne, it's like got his face on it basically, and you know it's I have that shirt. But that's awesome. So what song that you guys played that night hit the crowd the hardest? Like, what did they react to most? Like, what got them wild?
So we have a song that we all agreed on that we are never going to record it. It's called Kiss, Touch, and Tell. It is our closer for the evening. It's our heaviest hitting song. And the special thing about it is you only get to hear it if you see us live.
Oh, man.
And it's like it's got the most crowd involvement. There's parts in the song where it's mandatory crowd participation, where we stop playing and we make everybody fun to play. Everybody, things happening. Hear it and let's.
Is the oldest sync on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, one of his love songs.
My love song.
Love
Yeah,
songs he
it was an
talking
acoustic
about.
love song. It really was. And then we started fucking with it a little bit and add some heavier guitar parts. I was like, holy shit, this fucks a little bit. So the energy of that song is by far the most. I mean, yeah, crowd involvement, crowd participation. That's the only time I get off the stage, go down to the floor where everybody's at, I bring everybody close. We get down, we fucking kill that breakdown together. Everybody involved. Even if you feel like you can't be a part of it, I'm gonna come find you. I'm gonna come bring you into the center of this place. We're gonna do this shit together. Like, it's a very community wide song, and that participation, we probably wouldn't feel as good as we do doing our shows afterwards if we didn't get to have that cool moment.
Yeah.
And that song really does give us an opportunity to step away from everything we do, because it very much sounds like us, but it doesn't sound like anything else we do. And so for it to even carry the same amount of energy and punctuality with it is fucking wild. And then to make it like a whole group effort involved in that song, especially at the end of every set we do, man, you couldn't ask for a better position.
I think there's
Is it working?
Yeah. So I got to come all the way. I heard most of that. It was cutting in and out, but I heard most of it. So you're telling me I got to go all the way to Texas and catch a live show if I want to ever hear that song?
Yeah.
if you ever want to experience the song, because it's not just hearing it that you have to look for.
Got to be there in the moment. All right, let's give this thing a second here. I don't know why it's being funky.
Oregon.
Oh, I'll go to Oregon. I'll go to Oregon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot, that's a couple thousand miles away, Oregon is. But I don't know why StreamYard's being such a pain in my ass today. But if it's not freezing up for you guys, for me, am I freezing at all?
Very occasionally, it's almost unnoticeable though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's just my internet or whatever, or it's just this website that I use or the service. It's one of the reasons why I'm trying to find something else, is because I'm just kind of tired of how it will glitch out on my guests. And then we're both kind of left sitting there going, okay, did we hear that? Did he get all that? You know, kind of thing. It's like most of it, yes, but you know,
smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Basically, just gotta just smile and get through it. But that's awesome, though. I'm really happy for you guys that show went as well as it did. I think that's the third to the last thing I have for you guys. Well, we covered the music videos. You have music on the way. Is there anything besides all of that that you guys would want to cover and kind of talk about before we start wrapping it up?
I think the only thing that we're anticipating moving forward on right now, at least on my side of things, is definitely trying to develop an artist management company that very much isn't our collective to give back to anybody who wants to participate the same way we did without all the hardships. Because like you said, working for labels, you don't really get what you want. Working for different management companies, it's very much a sector that we work for. Whatever the easier ways for us to complete our process. And so I think it's coming back down to community again, where we're going to start. That's worth the fuck. Like, we're really honing in on the situation of trying to make the best out of everything we're doing. And I think the next step will be to go under our own and so things as professional as we can possibly do with this band.
Well, I think you guys have a bright future ahead of yourself. I think that the what you're setting out to do is going to work out, and I think there's going to be a lot of bands that benefit from it. I like it. It seems to me like it's a very community-focused kind of mindset that you're having with it, and I love that, because that's how it should be, like kind of helping each other out, you know, just being a source for others that maybe aren't as far along or don't have as much experience, or maybe have a lack of resources, I guess, you know, to have that option that you're seeking to set up is awesome.
Well, we can't do it without you guys, man. Without you guys, without the influence of you guys, we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't have anything to do it for. And I think if we can get closer to our crowds in different ways, that's what we're really after, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I do this podcast and try to get as many people as I can checking out who I talk to. Does everybody always tune in and everybody always check out? not always, it's just going to be the way it is sometimes, but the goal is always to get who I have on, even one more person paying attention and listening. That's the goal. If I do that, I succeeded. But please keep me in mind if you guys want to have any kind of like reviews for your songs. Like I could write it up, I could do a video of it, and I could send it your way. I expect nothing in return because it's not about that for me. I just want to be another kind of resource, I guess you could say, that I just do it because I want to, so just keep me in mind. I'm happy to do that. And then, in the future, we could do this again too. And hopefully that time, if whatever I'm using isn't going to be as glitchy,
It's been pretty good.
Yeah. But any closing thoughts for you guys before we get this thing wrapped up?
Well, the process is simple. We did an interview. And,
that was a line from our bass player. The only thing he would say is the process is simple.
He never says anything, man.
Well, fuck that, Mike. So the process is simple. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Watch that one too. That should be a future merch line. So
process is simple.
Just everything's simple.
Well, you tell that I send my love and everything, that I don't hold it against him for not wanting to take part in this. It's totally cool. But he might find a nail in his tire down the line for karma, though. Who knows?
I hope not, because that's going to happen to me now. Just because
I'm
going to be the one to catch you.
You're the tire guy for sure.
Nailed it.
But thanks for coming on, guys. Again, I've had a lot of fun. Hopefully, if we do this again, I don't get the time zone mixed up by an hour again. So you can share this around as much as you want. I don't really edit anything because I'm kind of dumb when it comes to how to edit with the most things. So yeah, let's try and stay in touch as much as we can. For those 2 songs, whenever you get close to releasing them, if you want me to write something, just let me know. I'm happy to do it. But other than that, thank you for coming on. It's been great. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Will. You take it easy, man.
You too, man.
All right.